All right, JR, here we go.
Who else is it? It's not generational for anybody else. Nobody got.
Are you kidding me? All right,
Who got whipped?
back.
Who got
we are
whipped?
Back, episode
Nobody
9.
else got whipped.
Here we go. We're starting with the Fury.
You're crazy.
Talking about getting smacked as kids.
Ay, ay, ay. What's going on, y'all?
Man,
We're back.
we're back.
It's great to be here.
It is great to be back. Talking about that smacking, I mean, I don't know, in my youth, there used to be paddles on my grandfather's wall. These paddles that are on the wall were signed by all these kids. Yeah. So he was a principal at Los Cerritos Elementary School, right? Right down there in South San Francisco. And one of the things that he used to do when the kids would, get in trouble is he used to spank them. He used to have them pick the paddle that he had small, medium, and large. And believe it or not, most of the people picked the small one, which is actually the one that hurt the most. And then he made them sign it and date it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he would so go to jail now.
Oh,
How times have changed, right? Like, or just imagine just being a parent in today's day and age, being okay with somebody else whipping your kid, for example. Like anybody, like there's no way in the world that would stand. Like you be ready to go to jail for this.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
To fight for your kid not getting spanked by someone else.
Yeah, a lot of my friends. I got some older friends from New Jersey and New York, some older Italian buddies of mine, and they always put emphasis on how much they despise these certain people because they were the ones that were the priests and the nuns when they went to Catholic school. And I know up in there they dealt with a lot of paddling. They used to break kids' fingers with rulers and all that wildness.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. Rulers on your hands.
Yeah. And there's no, I think they found out that wasn't something that was helpful. You know what I mean? It might have scared some people into not doing stuff. If that's what you might think help is, okay, cool. But I don't think that's helpful.
Yeah, I know for me, I have never spanked my daughter.
Yeah, I spanked my kid once when he was 2, and he just looked at me and was like, "No." And after that, I was like, all right, bro, no, it is. Like, that was that, Yeah, man, there's no space for that in this day and age. And a lot of older people will be like, that's the problem. Like, they ain't whooping these kids. Like, yeah, like you gonna whoop kids into like trauma, like whoop kids into like not wanting to like do anything because they're scared. They just have this innate scared feeling within them. So they're like skipping on all types of life's experiences because of it. Their communication's effed up because of it. Can't talk through stuff, all type of stuff. Like, that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, I don't think putting fear in people is the right way to motivate them.
No. It's an abuse. It's a form of an abuse of power, like, that many people find themselves in many different types of relationships in which they come to a point that they can no longer effectively communicate, and it's like you don't get it, or you're not doing what I want, or whatever the case is, and it's basically an impasse. And instead of that person understanding it's an impasse, they resort to what they think is the next best thing, and that's some type of abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So as far as America's culture, right, spanking seems to be a part of America's culture back then.
Yeah, but if you look at it, like I don't see how it wouldn't be when America was founded upon what it was founded upon, like literally, like physically taken away from people, like people like being unalived in mass quantities, children being forced to assimilate to what was quote unquote then the new American way, and all this stuff, and that them getting beaten, like that's how America, I'm sorry to say this, but that's how America as a whole resolves its issues. It's just like even as a country, like when we come to a place that we have a disagreement with somebody and it doesn't there's an impasse and doesn't quite go our way, guess what? We ready to spank something. That's what it is.
I don't like this way of being.
Yeah,
this
but
is this is not something that I choose to deploy.
yeah, but you have no, like, you and I, we're just very, very small portions in it. We're like cells within a body in America. Like we really don't have much of an influence unless we're ready to crash out and become a martyr. And then somebody might say your name a few more times over history, but eventually you'll be forgotten too.
Yeah. Yeah. So today we're going to dive in a little deeper on the traditions of America and kind of the culture shock that's happening. And we're going to dig in deep into the question, what even is American anymore?
What's crazy is it took a polarizing figure to create a more visible political division.
Are you talking about Donald Trump?
I am. And with that more visible political division, now it's like, oh, damn, you mean there's two Americas? Yeah. There's a whole bunch of us that have already known that there's two Americas. You know what I mean? And it's as simple as going back to the days of the Civil War, right? One side of the country wanted slavery, one side did not. One side won, the other side lost. Does everybody's feelings change with that? No. Some people still stay the same. Nobody goes to jail. Hey, some people think it's wrong. It's a difference of opinion is the fact of the matter. And like that's the divide in our country. It still has some to do with race. It has some to do with other things, but hey, it's there. It's been there. And like, hey, for whatever reason, for whatever figure or whatever reason, it brought it out that other people are starting to be enlightened and more aware about it. I'm glad, because it like I'm tired of being one of the only people that, like, when I talk to people and I talk about the two Americas, people are like, "What are you talking about? Are you serious?" Like, like I'm the only person that sees it this way, or like I'm like some type of conspiracy theorist. Nah, dog. It been like this out here, and in many different
This is an age-old thing. It's like the king in his castle on top of the hill, looking down at all the people that are in his kingdom, right? And knowing that if he gets the people to go back and forth with each other and fight each other, then it takes the focus away from being on him and what he's taking from them or what he's holding over from them, right?
Yes.
And so I believe in our culture, you know, way back when they created the two-party system,
Yeah.
they created it to have two sides, to get the two sides going at each other and to divide, right? This division is what allows control to be had, because these two sides are going at it so much that you end up falling into the bucket, right? You're in the bucket of the right side or the left side, right? And that means that you're opposite of the other. And that means that you get around those people, you get into the, what do they call it? When you're in the like bubble, you know, and you hear just those thoughts, and you form your own biases based on what you already believe. And then you only hear those things. And anything that's outside of that, you try to say that that's wrong. But it is a difference of opinion.
Agreed.
You know? So coming in today, you know, some of these talking points to start on, like, America was built on, like, when I was young, I used to think of it, and it was like, you know, baseball was America's pastime, right? Definitely eating hot dogs was a thing. Apple pie, muscle cars.
Hamburgers, hot dogs, barbecues, right?
Barbecues.
That's American.
Yeah. You brought up the other day being powerful, right?
Yeah, like America is a symbol of power. You know, whether you agree with it and where it lines up or not, it's a symbol of power recognized all around the world as you know, as far as I know, the superpower. Maybe that's just what they tell us, but as far as I know, that's what it is. You know.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm in marketing and branding, and one of the things that was brought up in one of our get-togethers was how the biggest brand in the world, the most well-known brand in the whole world, is the American flag. Right? This is branded all over the place. It's over there. You'll see flags on shirts. You see flags on hats. You see flags all over the place. And this American flag with the red and blue stripes showing that the two sides, right? And then the stars, which are representative of the 50 states, right? Although there's a bunch of other, what do they call them, colonies?
Yes.
That aren't represented in the flag.
Commonwealths, stuff like that. But see, that's a part of it. Like, it might just start there, the fandom. Okay, like I feel like that's one thing that America suffers from is like fandom, because we have like definitely again the mob mentality where one person runs and everybody runs and then tries to find out later why they're running.
Oh yeah,
the thing where a good portion of the population, if you send them a candy bar, you got their vote.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Send them something.
And so with that being said, like if you feel patriotic, like you're a proud American and you want to represent your country, cool. We're in America. We all know that. You know what I mean? If that's what you're on, cool. But my thing is, when it comes to these political parties, again, the blind following of a political party just because that's what you're affiliated with, as though they can do no wrong, that's where we have always fallen short in America, and that's how we end up decades and decades down the road with all types of problems that have been the same problems that either have not been tried to fix or tried to fix the same way over and over again, as though that is going to do something. And for me, who I vote for is my business. Even my political party in itself is my business. When I go vote, I'm in the booth by myself. Nobody knows what happens when after I leave there. And I feel the same way about religion as well. And that's something that, I think we got to be a little more careful with, and a little bit more mindful of, and a little bit more conscious, and of other people's stuff. Like why does that have to be on your T-shirt? Like, why do we have to put that on the forefront? Like, why do we have to do that? Right? Like, we don't introduce ourselves in that way to people.
Yeah, I think with social media and the way that it is such a polarizing thing with the different parties, the different agendas that are out there, people are putting this front and center because they're looking at it and saying, I must identify with something, and I'm forced to make a decision on what I identify as, and I must put it out there and let everybody know that this is how I identify, so that I can sway others to come and see it my way.
That's what it is. And see, for me, it's more of anybody that's a politician that has something to do with something that needs to get done that serves my community, like whatever side on of the fence they're on, like they're going, like I would like to hold them accountable. Like, it's like, let's hold them all accountable, like on both sides of the fence, and like let's put down the this person's this party so they can do no wrong. Like, nah, dude, it doesn't matter if you identify with that party. If they're effing up, and call them on it.
Yeah. That I love that sentiment. I think that's a sentiment that we all get to have. It comes with some, like we spoke about on our last episode, some critical thinking, right? And removing some of the biases that we hold ourselves, and not allowing those to affect our judgment.
Yeah.
And being able to call out things that are just not okay, morally, ethically, having integrity, those kind of things.
Right on. Real quick off topic. I like to give a shout out to somebody, man. I like to give a shout out to all my people over there in Dumaguete City, Philippines, in Negros Oriental, over there in Dumaguete City, over there in Talay, and over there in what's it called, Valencia up there. You guys know who you guys are. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys in the Philippines. We love y'all.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So as we continue down this road, we're talking about how, do you know what globalism is?
Yeah.
So globalism is the operation or planning of economic and foreign policy on a global basis. So economic and foreign policy based on a global basis and doing the planning and operation of it, right? So when we're considering the question, what does American even mean in 2025? This is something that we get to take into consideration.
Yeah, the globalism. If you even say that word, what do you think of when you hear globalism? You think of the world, right?
Yeah.
So you got to wonder if this is all one agenda, who wants this, and who benefits from it?
That's the question that
And
comes
then
to my mind. But I don't know
there's
necessarily
many.
know the answer.
I could tell you.
You have an opinion, is what I understand.
Very strong one, very, very good. But with that, I'm not going to get deep into. But what I will get into is we cannot barely do great as a country, right? And many states within that country, they have independence. And many of them cannot do well on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what makes anyone think that we can get it all together and everyone be together and everyone do the same thing and it'd be right?
Yeah, everybody's different. Every country has different
What
beliefs.
I'm trying to say is, though, is they can't, like people can't get it together on a small level. Like, what do you think globalism as a whole is going to do if something like that is truly established? Like, it's already in the financial space. It's already in certain spaces. Globalism already is very strong in existence. But as a whole, like, they know the people going to fight that. You know what I mean? So
what is American?
That might all depend on who you ask.
Well, the term American, when you look it up, it's either a native or a citizen of America or relating to a characteristic of the United States or its inhabitants.
So with that being said, like, does everybody in America feel like an American?
That's kind of crazy because I see in America, I've seen all these different flags. You know?
But there are also many disenfranchised groups, though, from America, within America, that do not feel accepted by America. That's where
and they're going out with their home country's flag in America. But they may be Americans. And they're definitely doing this in America.
That's a pride. It's a pride thing, you know?
Yeah, so it just seems kind of weird, right? We say, what's it feel like to be an American, right? And for me, I mean, I grew up here. I consider myself a Native American. I'm a native
American
here in America, right? And Californian, right? And for me, that's all I've ever known was to be what I call an American. So everything I do is from what I think an American perspective. Now, it might be different than someone else that thinks I'm American and I have the same upbringing, growing up here in America, born in America, but they look at things differently, right? A thing that comes to my mind is like things have changed. No longer is just baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, muscle cars considered American, right? Now it's like a whole new experience. It's TikTok trends, Uber Eats, Kanye West, NFTs, soccer moms doing mukbangs. Like,
to go back to what you're saying about like being an American, like myself, like I accept being an American. You know, I love being an American, and if somebody came over here, like I'd be willing to die for America, right? But just because of all of those things, it does not dismiss, like, it is, and as far as I know, the greatest country in the world, as far as I know, you know, but there's displeasure that people have with things, even if they're American. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could see that a lot of people nowadays are frustrated with America and how it's been evolving. I definitely see that happening all over the place. Even myself, I have frustrations with society and what we accept and what's okay in our world.
Yeah.
Even though we have laws, how they are enforced and what actually happens is a totally different experience. And it's definitely, I think there's a lot of people that are frustrated with this right now. I think it's becoming more and more where people are divided, frustrated, and literally on every side, everybody's frustrated. And I think in my head, the only way that happens is if it's an overall plan. You know, why else would everybody be so disenfranchised, so against each other, unless it's the king on top of the castle that is trying to make everybody else focused on each other and hating each other and fighting with each other instead of looking at what the king's doing. Yeah. And so I don't know what oligarchs or overall control factors that we have, which, you know, could be big corporations or, you know, these wealthy family heritages that funded banks and, you know, the whole thing. I don't know if they're on top of it. And it seems like there's an aspect of unknown that is there that is, it seems like it's starting to come out in the open and people are starting to talk about it.
Yeah, what's interesting is how tech has enabled some people to make astronomical amounts of money that are not connected to these families. You know, like, so these power families that, you know, have been over here in America since day one, like, you know, controlling all of the commodities and the railroads and, you know,
Oil.
all these different, that falls under commodities.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like, it's a trip how, you know, you got a couple people like a Gates, a Elon, or this guy or that guy who are not, you know, who doesn't necessarily fall under that category, but they got the power.
Yeah.
You know, they got that shift in the paradigm, and that's why a lot of those people don't like those guys too. You know what I mean? Because they talk about some stuff that they don't want everyone else to know that benefits them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.